Oh, we are recording. Great. Let me close this. I think I'm just going to do that. Okay, we're going to try something new. We're trying a new format, unscripted. Alex, I am highly suspicious I'm going to get this to 3 minutes. Hi, might be a little peeking. So here's the deal. I went to Egypt, but along the way I had to stop in Amsterdam. My flight dictated that I had to spend 11 hours. A long layover, right? 11 hours. You know how long that is? That's 11 hours worth of time. And I was a little bit concerned about what I was going to do, so I spent some time Googling, and I decided I was going to spend the day in the city. I was going to leave the airport and go kind of poke around and see what I could find. So if you're curious as to whether or not you can spend 11 hours in Amsterdam, yes, you can. This is how you do it. I'm going to take you with me. So this is 11 hours in the city of Amsterdam. The first step was getting onto a bus, and I was scared. I want to reiterate this. I was afraid of doing this, which is pathetic, but it's true. Hey.
Just have to Thank you.
Does this go to Concertgebouw?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And the bus ride was lovely. It was early in the morning, and without fail, I arrived at my destination. You're wondering, what's my destination? Well, I'll tell you. I booked tickets to the Vincent van Gogh Museum. Now, after my super awesome bus ride, I was a little early. And so I walked into a random coffee shop. And the reason I bring this up is because I was a little anxious going into the coffee shop, which, like, through line here so far, just ton of anxiety getting on the bus, anxiety walking into a coffee shop. Whenever I travel, I'm super self-conscious or self-aware. And I understand I'm a tourist from the United States. And I always want to try and dispel that notion because there's a lot of stereotypes that come with that. So I'm always like hyper aware. And when I went in there to order, I was like, hey, so do I order here? What's going on? And I mean, the barista immediately sized me up, and she asked me for my vaccine card. She's like, well, can I see your vaccine card? And I was like, yeah, sure. Gave it to her. She was like, okay, what do you want? I got breakfast. It was a delicious little croissant and some OJ and some coffee. But the reason I bring this up is because like 10 other people walked in after me, and she didn't ask for their vaccine cards. And I think it was clearly obvious to me that she was like, okay, American, you best not be bringing your COVID over here. And like I said, I was worried about kind of being judged. Amsterdam, to me, had this air of like, there's so much culture and history, and it's such a progressive city, you know? So I was a little concerned of being like provincial, like coming in uncultured, which is stupid. But I was texting my friend Scott after this vaccine card cafe kerfuffle. Wow, that alliteration was... I'm really liking unscripted. This is going really well. I was texting my friend Scott, and I was like, hey man, I'm really worried about getting judged. It's sunny and raining. So I was originally a little skeptical coming here, because it's like, I have this notion that it's such like high culture in Amsterdam. It's like a mecca of all things progressive and new. And I was telling my friend Scott this, and he's like, dude, being worried about being judged. Oh, it's raining a lot harder than I thought it was. Like, being worried about being judged in Amsterdam is like being worried about being judged in Las Vegas. And I thought that was excellent context. So I feel okay now. And I think that's a hell of an insight, because it's true. Amsterdam, for all of its beauty and all of its culture and all of its progressiveness, the vast majority of people who are visiting that city are doing so to take drugs and go to the red light district. So like, you really can't feel judged in Amsterdam. It's like feeling judged going to Chuck E. Cheese or something like that, where they like give you mushrooms. But I digress. After my lovely breakfast at the cafe, the local cafe, I walked to the Van Gogh Museum. The one thing I'm getting is like Amsterdam kind of feels like a Wes Anderson movie, which I would love for someone to chime in on that and correct me if I'm wrong. But I feel like the brand is Wes Anderson, or Wes Anderson's brand rather is Amsterdam. I made it, bus and all. It was not hard at all. Now I get to enjoy some Van Gogh, which I know is very cliche, but I couldn't come here and not do this. About a week or 10 days before arriving, I booked my ticket online. Hello. Thank you. Well, I'm glad I bought them online because they're sold out. They are sold out. If you're going to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, book your ticket online. And the Van Gogh Museum was kind of meh. I'm going to be honest with you. I love Van Gogh. The amount of paintings they had was impressive. However, I kind of got the feeling that they got the short end of the stick, or they got all the... I mean, from what I understand, the allure of the museum is the volume, the sheer volume of work. They have stuff from beginning to end, but they don't have the like super cool paintings. But I would say my highlights are the room, the famous painting of Van Gogh's room, which is beautiful. They also had one of his more iconic self-portraits, which was really cool to see. And then they had a couple of just overall cool paintings that I enjoyed looking at. The net is that the museum was kind of meh. I'm glad I went though. Oh my God, it's some guys like pile driving in the basement of this building. This is so annoying. We press on.
Hello, it's not allowed to film.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Ooh, I got yelled at for filming, which is total bogus. Like I filmed on every floor in every wing, and then at the very end, a lady comes up to me and is like, "You can't film here." I was filming for 50 minutes, ma'am. Yeah, and then afterwards, I talked to the camera, which I'll show now. It was a little cliche to go there, and I kind of felt like, oh, I'm going to the Van Gogh Museum. But because everyone likes Van Gogh, right? He's famous. But the reason the reason I'm a fan is because, and I think it's the same reason everyone else is a fan, is it represents like, his life is an embodiment of the struggle of artistry. Is it worth to suffer simply for the pursuit of a passion? Right? Because that's all he did. He was dedicated to a craft. He was not revered for it, but he committed to it nonetheless. It ended up killing him in a way, but he stuck with it. And there's something profound about that and romantic, and I think that's why all artists kind of flock to his story, right? Which is the suffering was justified in the end. That's the great irony, is his suffering was justified long after he was gone, in that he became the world's most famous painter. Because when he was alive, no one really gave a shit. And I think, what I find more... There's no signs that say you can't walk on the grass. But I feel kind of bad walking on the grass. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. I'm walking on the grass. The courtyard was really beautiful. I walked around and I kept being worried that I shouldn't be on the grass. And then I decided, so let's recap. Landed in Amsterdam, took a bus, had breakfast in a cafe, went to the Van Gogh Museum, walked around outside the museum, Then I decided that I wanted to walk to the red light district, the famous red light district. Never been there, heard many things. So I decided to walk, which it was basically just a straight shot north. And that walk was tremendous. It was so beautiful. Amsterdam, I give it credit. It is a truly scenic city. The canals and like waterways in the middle of the city is spectacular. You're crossing over these beautiful bridges. It just is such a lovely city and aesthetically engaging. So if you have some time to kill in Amsterdam, just walk around. And I walked and I walked and I walked, and I got to the red light district. And this is where my repressed Midwestern sensibilities kicked in, because I was very afraid to film. The thing about the red light district, they don't like label it. It's not like a big sign that's like you're entering the red light district. You just go from bars to slowly like weed shops and then sex toy shops. And you're walking around, and it's just like a series of side streets. And once you turn down a side street, you will see these basically phone booth wide kind of stall windows. They're very narrow, and it's just a big piece of glass. And behind the piece of glass is a woman sitting on a stool, basically soliciting. I was very shy. I didn't want to film. I was afraid to film, which in hindsight I probably could have. But what was so uncomfortable was that you're walking down the street, and it's probably 11 a.m. on a Friday, mind you. And all of these workers are just banging on the window trying to get your attention. They wave, they blow kisses. You know, they're just friendly people doing their job. And like, I was so uncomfortable that I was just like, nope. Like, I suddenly became like a God-fearing Christian for 30 minutes. I didn't really film much. But I will say the highlight was when I turned a corner and there was just like a 80-year-old man haggling, like actively haggling with one of the women, which I was like, more power to you, my man. Like, you're doing your thing and you're keeping your financial sensibilities. I just find the process of haggling for sex, like, that's so funny. Like, you should always barter. Like, no price is firm. There's probably some firm pun there. Anyway, after the red light district, I had lunch. I had some fish and chips. I started to get a really bad headache. And I was just really jet lagged and not feeling too great. But I did eat, and I had a Coke, and I then had to get back to the airport. I decided that I was not going to take an Uber. An Uber was, $60. I was like, F that. I'm an Amsterdam-minion. I'm a local. I'm taking public transit back. So I walked to Amsterdam Central Station, which was another 10, 15-minute walk. Unfortunately, this is when it started raining. I had stopped filming because it's raining and I'm cold. But I got to catch another bus, so I'm walking. I'm walking as fast as I can. This weather is not ideal for living. So I see what the trade-off is. You get a beautiful city. The weather kind of sucks. Which, it feels like this every day. I imagine this is what Seattle's like. Just like permanently 50 degrees and raining and windy. I thought I was supposed to get on a bus, so I bought a bus ticket. Well, it turns out I was wrong. Bought the wrong ticket. Bought a bus ticket, needed a train ticket. That was the issue. I missed my bus because, well, it wasn't a bus. It was a train. I'd bought the wrong ticket. I was looking at the wrong thing on my phone. Luckily, there was a kiosk. I had to wait in line. And I took the train back to the airport. I don't know if I'm on the right train. I'm on the right train. Oh my God, 19 minutes. I'm supposed to make this 3 minutes, by the way. That was my 11 hours. And traveling, this is super underrated, or maybe stupid, but using public transportation is a great way to get to know a city. But taking public transit in Amsterdam is super easy because everybody speaks English. So I applaud Amsterdam for being so open-minded when it comes to language. So that's my 11 hours in Amsterdam. I hope you enjoyed it. If you yourself have a layover in Amsterdam and you're thinking, okay, do I just stay in the airport? No. Niet. Nein. No. Plan a day. Go to the Van Gogh Museum, walk around. Walk from the Van Gogh Museum to the red light district. If you just need one thing to do that. It'll take you like 2 hours and just walk around. It's a beautiful city. And this wonder if like this cord is touching something. It's a beautiful city, and the airport is kind of stupid. So go out in the city. All right, catch you in Egypt. Bye.